Hello, it is Rachel here coming to you with a March homeschool recap and update, sharing some of the highs and lows of the month. If you are new here, I am a second generation homeschool mom to 3. I have a first grader, pre-K, and a 1-year-old toddler. And I love to make nerdy homeschool videos here on YouTube, so if you're new, you could definitely subscribe, click the like button so that you can see nerdy homeschool videos throughout the year on curriculum, as well as personal updates on how homeschool is going for our family. So let's dive right in. I'll start with my oldest, my first grader. The really main new thing that we tried for him this month was an Outschool class. So Outschool reached out to me to do a partnership, and he's never done any kind of video or live Zoom class before. But I was like, hey, let's try this out, see how it goes. He might be old enough to handle this by now. What I picked for him was a Spanish class that was specifically for bilingual kids who are growing up, and it was recommended that they have at least one native speaking parent and a good amount of understanding of Spanish. It was specifically for kids that are not that comfortable speaking it, but who do understand Spanish. And that was a really cool experience for him. So Outschool did partner with me for him to be able to sign up with this class, and they also offered me a link with a discount code of 7 that it is available for a limited time, but for now it's still live. If you use the code 7 when you sign up for your first Outschool class, you can get a discount of up to $20, depending on what you're signing up for you to try out Outschool as well. I'll put that discount code 7 as well as my link in the description below if you want to try out Outschool. But I just want to share our experience a little bit. This was his very first time ever doing some kind of live online class. I don't know if your kids have done live online classes, but he felt like big stuff. Like he felt, this is so serious. I have my own class. I think he was very excited to be able to see other kids in the class as well. The teacher did a great job. And I feel like I also learned from what she was doing because she was tough on these kids. She was making them give her complete sentences, complete full sentences. And if they said the sentence wrong, she's not shaming them, but she is making them repeat sentences back correctly. So she was not, just going easy on them, taking any kind of answer that they're giving. This was a Spanish conversation class, and she was making them speak correct Spanish. And she wasn't, even if they're reluctant or hesitant, she would just keep going, keep going until they got that full and complete sentence answer. And kind of seeing that modeled actually helped encourage me to say, okay, I could push my son a little bit more myself at home to be, no, I want a complete full sentence answer. I want a correct complete full sentence answer when it comes to Spanish. So it was, I think, good for me to see it modeled, how you can really just not in a mean way, not in a punitive way, but you can push back. And when they're trying to get off easy with just a one-word answer, you can push back to get that complete sentence. Seeing him do this class, I was also very glad that I have been working so hard with him on Spanish reading this year, because the teacher did have these kids reading little passages off the screen as part of different games that they were playing. And I was like, oh no, is he going to be able to do it? And he was, like not perfectly, but at least, reasonably well on par with the other kids in the class. So that was also nice for me to see, okay, the other kids around his age are also not reading completely fluently in Spanish either. And she would also, if they were mispronouncing a word, this teacher would also make them go back, break apart the word, do it all correctly. So I thought she did a really great job. He was really excited and motivated by seeing the other kids. The kids would get to talk to each other and ask questions. It was a fun and great experience. Now I will say, doing an Outschool live class through Zoom with a 7-year-old who has never used Zoom before, so he still needs a little bit of help from me for turning on the mic, turning off the mic, while also having a 1-year-old who really just tries to climb on the table and tries to do, naughty stuff all the time. That was also a little bit of stressful, but, doing basically anything with a very naughty 1-year-old is just gonna be a little bit stressful, but the live element and having to keep the mic off because the baby, you know, will just randomly be very loud. That is a factor. Having a toddler will always be somewhat of a factor, but I think also as my son gets more confident with using Zoom, more experience with the setup of the class, then he doesn't need my help as much, then I can just set him up, leave him alone, and take care of the baby and take care of my other son. So that has been our experience with an Outschool Spanish class over the month of June, which was really fun, a really cool and special addition. I think we also finished up sequence 1 right around the beginning of March. And then from there, we have jumped into going through our Easter morning time guide, which has been really, really special and fun. I just love the hymns, these powerful hymns that we are singing as we're doing this. The Bible stories. This is actually my first time to ever use our Easter morning time guide. And I'm like, wow, this is so good. I love it, which I did create it, but it was a couple years ago, and now my son's finally old enough to use it. So that's been wonderful. My son has been requesting recently more Spanish. And I feel like we already do a lot of Spanish. So I'm navigating, what does he mean by that? What might that look like? But I kind of see what he's meaning, like he is a lot more advanced in his English skills, and then his Spanish skills are more, maybe a little bit below grade level, and he does really need to build fluency. So I am mentally chewing on what more Spanish for him might look like. Now that he's really gained a lot of confidence in his English skills, how can we start translating that more into Spanish skills? Then for my son who's in pre-K, I have this month decided to term him a mood reader. You know how some people call themselves mood readers. Sometimes they're in the mood for reading romance, sometimes murder mystery. I say he's a mood reader because depending on his mood, either he can read or he can't read. That is the phase that we are in right now, that emotions seem to deeply impact his ability to read. So it's really funny, you know, on a good day, he's in a happy and great mood. Sometimes he can just read an entire sentence with like no sounding out, and I'm like, you can read. And then other days when he's in a little bit more just bad mood, bad day, I don't know, woke up on the wrong side of the bed, he'll read the same word 4 times on a page and he'll sound it out wrong half of the time. I'm like, what's going on? So we are in the mood reading phase of life. Let me know if you have ever had a phase like this where it's like, sometimes it seems like they totally got it, and sometimes it seems like they totally don't. It's a stage. He's also beginning to read in Spanish. We have Trabajando con Palabras. He's finished the first lesson. It actually went really, really well with what he's doing, and we're starting on the second lesson. So our L and T syllables, and you see we have these little mice. There's the other one. Hidden on each page of Trabajando con Palabras. He loves the mice, and he always has to get out pink and gray markers to color the mice. So this will be our next pages the next few days. And he told me, Mama, I want more schoolwork that has mice hidden in it. So this is something that I will have to remember for future books, is to keep having these little mice or something like that hidden in the books. But he really appreciates coloring his little mice on each page. He has that personality that just appreciates the cute factor. I'm continuing to notice that handwriting and drawing is a real strength of it. Just fine motor skills in general is something that is very strong for him. So I'm contemplating how to integrate that with some of the things that maybe are more challenging. I'm thinking if I involve more handwriting into his reading, that might help strengthen some of his reading skills. So you hear a lot about, you know, kids who maybe fight back on handwriting. He seems to love using pencils. So thinking, how can I have him use pencils more and really like lean into that strength of writing and drawing to cement his learning. The toddler is busy. He is so funny. He's rascally, naughty, learning boundaries. You know, year 1 of life, when they're just a baby and they don't move a lot, that's a lot of just caring for, you know, all their physical needs, cuddling a baby that doesn't move a whole lot. Year 2 is when they can move everywhere. They don't have a lot of logic. They do have a lot of ideas, and it's a wild little adventure. So he adds his own spice and flavor. He actually has a favorite book now, which is Waddle. And I don't know how well it will show up on the video, but as you move the pages, it kind of looks like the animal is moving. And it ends with an alligator who's gonna get you. Loves this book. He will pull this book out himself and he'll open it up and just act like he's reading it, blah, 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 in his little baby talk voice. And he's doing more of that fake reading to himself, which is just so adorable. Our family read aloud lately has been The Hobbit, which is actually fun because my husband has actually been reading this one quite a bit at bedtimes to the boys. And my husband is really not a big book person, not a big reading person, but he really loves the movies of The Hobbit and The Lord of the Rings. So he's been quite motivated to read this one to the boys. And actually, my younger son, my 5-year-old, has been really into listening to this one, which he's not usually as much involved in every story and read aloud we do. And this, this is a longer, I would say this is the most challenging, longest read aloud that we've been doing. We're pretty far into it right now. And he's been very motivated with it, so very interested in the story as well. And then I did get very sick like the last week of the month, which I don't recommend. I mean, mom getting sick is always a bad idea when it comes to homeschool. But I had a stomach bug, which actually landed me in the ER at 2 a.m. And this is not the first time that I've been very thankful to live like about a 15-minute drive from a very good ER. So then I was admitted to the hospital for IV fluids for dehydration. And about the time when I got better from that, then I got a terrible sore throat, which I'm still recovering from. But hopefully my voice is clear enough for this video at least. But hopefully can get fully recovered, back to normal energy, and ready for another month of homeschool for April. Let me know in the comments, how did your homeschool go in March? Did you take a spring break trip anywhere? Do you have any fun plans? I want to leave you with the encouragement to finish strong. For many on the American school schedule, you might be looking at finishing up school in May. For us, we definitely have a full April and May still coming up. So, there's still 2 full months that we can do. There's still actually a lot we can accomplish within this school year with my schedule. So we don't want to be checking out early. We don't, it's fun to plan and dream for the next year. And I always say my DMs are open, my email is open if you want to chat with me about planning. I have many videos to help you with planning and evaluating curriculum for your next year. But also remember to continue just doing the work and seeing what progress will still happen in these next couple months, what milestones we'll still get to reach, what new experiences we'll still get to have in the next couple months of homeschool, even as we begin preparing for the next year. All right, I will see you next time. Bye.